Hi guys, I'm Eric from Camberwell College of Art. Today I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to cast pewter. This piece is the piece of jewelry I designed and casted earlier, and I use a very easy way, and I'm pretty sure that you guys can do it at home as well. This piece is the original object I cast it from, and I use multiple putty. It's epoxy putty, it's two-part material, and it's basically like a clay. This one is yellow, but I use the black one, but it's same stuff. So basically you can use the same amount of two parts and mixing together, and will become soft. And just like normal clay, you can start sculpting it with a sculpting tool and with some water to smooth it out. And after you harden, you can just sand it. It's pretty easy thing. And basically you need some clay as well, and some silicone. This particular type of silicone is designed to cast cold metal, which is like low melting point temperature metal. Now it can withstand up to 400 Celsius degrees. So, and that's the catalyst. Is pretty good stuff to use. And when you purchase silicone, like, you just need to be careful and to make sure the type you get in. And you need some cup as well for mixing silicone, some hot glue, and some cardboard. And now I'm going to show you how to prepare to mold your object or your prop. And this prop is flat, pretty flat prop. So I only need like 1 pound mold, and basically just use some clay and just kind of roll the clay, soften it out. Use some I use the water bottle to kind of roll it flat. Just kind of roll it and get it done, like get it flat and smooth surface. Just roll it out, and yeah, and kind of get it like bigger surface. And now we have a smooth flat surface for our prop. We just kind of place in the middle and see if it's big enough for our prop. And that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna push it down, like so it doesn't move. And now I'm just use a scalpel, and you can use any other sculpting tool as well. And just kind of trim off the excess clay. We don't need this much clay, and it's just a good working base for us. So we can cut the clay. It's a little bit sticky. Just kind of take it off, and yeah, just kind of cut through from the side. It doesn't need to be too precise, and it doesn't need to be like a perfect rectangular or perfect square. It's just anything will do. Yep. And now we cut excess clay and just kind of move the prop a little bit into the center, and that's looking good. And just push it down. And now we are ready. So just next step is building the wall of the cardboard, and we can get ready to pour. I now have finished the cardboard wall, and I didn't film it because it's just easy but tedious process. And you guys may notice there's a gap on the edge of the cardboard, and that doesn't really matter. You can just fill it up with hot glue. But I don't really care, because if there's any silicone leaking out from that point, I can just trim it off after silicone is cured. so it doesn't really bother me at this point. And now we are ready to mix our silicone. And you kind of turn off the scale, put your cup on the scale, and zero it out. So from this point, we will know that it's any way shown on the scale, it's the amount of silicone we put in. So just kind of get yourself a spatula and pour in the silicone. It's really thick, so you kind of just wait a little bit. And here we go. For this mold, and this prop is not very big, so we don't need that much. So we just going to put around 50 to 60 grams of silicone, and yeah, that just makes it around 60. Yeah, that's 61. That's good enough. And for this kind of silicone, the cut is 2% of the catalyst. So 60 grams of catalyst, 2% of 60 grams is 1.2 grams. So I'm just going to drip some tiny bit of catalyst into it. And 62, that's about right. And now when you're done, you can start mixing your silicone. Get yourself a new spatula and just thoroughly mix your silicone. Silicone is really thick, so this might take a little bit. And just to make sure that you really mix the silicone thoroughly, because any unmixed silicone will cause the mold like uncured, and that basically just wastes a lot of time and material. So just make sure you really doing a good job of mixing it. And now the silicone is looking pretty good. So let's get ready to pour into our clay base. Now we are going to pour the silicone. When you pour in the silicone, you should really make a tiny, just from one spot, and make a tiny strip and let the silicone roll its way down. So I'm just going to kind of get started and then pull it high and make a really thin strip of silicone, and so you will have less chance to get any bubble in this mold, because when you're mixing a silicone, you kind of trap a lot of air in the silicone itself. So if you just kind of pour it down in one go, like the bubble will trap in there, and basically that will ruin your mold as well. So for this method, you kind of like break the bubbles as the silicone dripping down, and so that give you a better chance having a perfect mold. Now I have finished pouring the silicone, so we can just leave it there, wait for it to cure. This type of silicone cures in about 3 to 4 hours, so compared to other types that usually takes 8 hours, and it's pretty quick. So now we can get ready to prepare our pewter metal. And now it has been about 6 to 7 hours. Actually, I didn't wait that long. I just want to make sure it's all cured. So I took all the cardboard out and the clay, and yeah, as you can see, it's pretty good surface tension. Let's look inside the mold. It's perfect thin line. There's no bubble at all. And yeah, I'm happy with it. And so from this point, we can start preparing our metal and be ready to cast. So now it's time to prepare our metal. This is pewter that I'm going to use today. Pewter is really soft, so we can bend just like this fairly easily. Yeah, and we need a little dish as well for melting our pewter and our mold, of course. So what I'm going to do is just to use everyday household electronic stove, and because pewter's melting point is about 170 to 230 Celsius, depends on the actual mixture of the materials. So the stove will definitely do. That's why I'm saying that this kind of casting you can do it at home. And now I'm just going to put my mold over here and my little dish on the stove, and I'm just going to bend this piece of pewter like in half, so it fits in the dish perfectly. And over here I'm just going to speed it up because it does take quite some time to melt, but as you can see it's melting. And so now I have my melted pewter in the dish. As you can see, it's all liquid in there. And now I'm just going to pour into a mold very carefully. You may need to practice for a few times because it's really hard to control the amount of pewter you pour in. You don't want it to be too much, and you don't want it to be too little. So yeah, I'm just going to heat out a little bit more, and here we go. Just pull it above there and some on the bottom and some in the middle, and now just tap it with something, like anything, just tap it. That will help pewter to travel along the thin line. But at this point I think I'm using too little pewter, so what am I going to do is just take it off and then put some dump it back in. That's why it's so good pewter. If you fail, you just melt it again and retry it. So over here we have our pewter melted again. So this time I'm just going to be more careful and make sure I have poured enough of material into the mold. So I'm just going to pour from the very top, and that's looking pretty good. So right now I'm just going and tap it, and nice, really nice. I'm happy. So don't forget to take your pewter off of the stove when you finish it. So now just wait for it to cool down. So right now we have finished casting our pewter. So this is the final object. You can see it's still pretty rough compared to the finished one. It's not really smooth. So at this point, what you do is really take the sandpaper and sanding out the surface and sanding off all the bubbles in the surface. Yeah, and take the metal finishing sandpaper and sand it progressively from lower grade to highest grade, and then polishing it. And if the pewter is thicker than you want it to be, you can take the file to grind it down and to to make it thinner. Again, it's just take a little bit of time, but you will get there if you like spend some more love in there. It will come out beautiful. So yes, that's basically the very simple way to cast a pewter object, and hope you enjoy it, and good luck. Also, thanks for watching. Goodbye.